soon as you are eligible to get the vaccine, please do. The more people who are immune, the sooner that we can all kiss using our tongues and put your tongue in other people's ears and slap up against each other like we're lunch meat, and we can make like this sound.
Ladies and gentlemen, sit back and enjoy Mega Meeple.
Greetings and welcome to the Mega Meeple. How's everybody doing? This is episode 108 and the final episode of season 4 as we are hitting our 5th year doing the Mega Meeple. And you know what? This is going to be a short episode because this is the last episode of the Mega Meeple. At the 5-year mark, I am putting the podcast and the YouTube channel and everything Mega Meeple just on the back burner. I'm putting it on the shelf of shame of that would never be played again. Now, for those of you who follow me on Twitter and stuff, you've seen this coming because I've commented on it. I said it was going to come, and. 4 or 5 years ago, I don't even know when, but it was middle of April that I started this podcast, and actually, let's hear what I sounded like way back then.
Well, man, after months and months and months of thinking about it, planning it, recording, re-recording, erasing, dumping the whole idea, trying it again, rethink it. Finally starting to record our first podcast. And it's going to be a short one. It's just a little introduction on who I am. By the way, this is the Mega Meeple. I am your host, Thom. And why does the podcast world need another gaming podcast? Well, if you're involved in gaming in any length of time, you know that you can never have too many dice.
Yep. Wasn't that pretty cringeworthy? That was before I got a professional microphone and a professional mic processor, mic preamp, and a proper audio recording interface, and some good software. And so thank you to all the people way back then who gave me some constructive criticism about how I could do better. And as you can tell, listening to the way it sounded and what the production quality was way back then, I think I could say that I appreciate your suggestions and feedback, and I took it to heart, and I implemented the changes needed to get a really good, produced podcast. So thank you all for people who helped me out in those early Amiibo years of the Mega Meeple. Appreciate it very much. And yeah, that's how people grow. That's how people improve. They get better. Not somebody saying, "Oh, we don't like your music." Well, fuck you. It's my podcast. It's my music. I can play whatever the hell music I want. Stuff like that, I'm not going to change. Or, somebody saying, "Oh, you suck." Well, so does your mom. Or didn't you know? So, see, stuff like that is not constructive criticism. It's not feedback. It's not helpful. You're not bringing anything to the table when you say stuff like that. So, but for those of you who actually did bring something to the table that was helpful and helped me improve in my production of the podcast, thank you. You share the credit of making the Mega Meeple what it is today. So why am I closing up shop now? Well, if you listen to the past year, and if you know anything about what's happened this past year, for those of you listening to this in the future, the pretty much the whole good part of 2020 was with COVID and quarantine and pandemic and all that crap. And a lot of people had to close up shop. They had to shut down. They had to quarantine. And I've been very open and forthright in my medical history. If those of you are not aware of that, just go back and listen to episode 17, where I talked about it. And so when the whole COVID shit hit the fan, I was under direct orders to quarantine and isolate because of my medical history. I was considered a high risk for COVID. In fact, the doctor told me flat out, if you get this virus, your body will go into shock. So there, what am I going to say to that? So, lucky for me, the time that after my coma, when I spent a year pretty much cooped up at the nursing home learning how to walk again, that took a good 8 or 10 months. Yeah, at least, maybe longer. I don't even remember. It was way back in 2014. But yeah, so for damn near a year, I spent my time in a hospital bed, looking out the same damn window. And twice a day, twice every weekday, I would have physical therapy and occupational therapy, and they would come in and they'd get me out of the bed and doing the whole walking and trying to get use of my hands and my right arm again. So when the quarantine hit, it was like, all right. And I'm a natural introvert anyway, so it was kind of natural for me to quarantine and just be to myself. But even during that time, I missed my gaming groups. But before when the quarantine thing hit or the COVID thing hit, we had just started playing Mechs versus Minions, and we only got through to the second mission. And when our area had our first case of the COVID, it was like, God. So, all right, so we got to put this on halt, put this on pause. And that was the last time my gaming group and I met in the same room, let alone the same house, since, February of 2020. And here we are over a year now. And hopefully there's a light at the end of the tunnel. As I'm recording this weekend, I got my first stabby of the Moderna vaccine. And I have a second one, my second stabby is scheduled about a month from now. So hopefully 2 weeks after that shot, my doctor would give me the green light to be able to meet with our gaming group again. And we could, chances are I'll still have to wear a mask, but my understanding is we could forget the 6 foot distance thing. And I'm looking forward to that, if that happens. So I'm hoping that this whole stopping the Mega Meeple is just, I hope it's a temporary thing. But, for those of you out there who, wish I would just go away, well, you have hope. So hold on to that hope. But yeah, hopefully there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So we will see. But since then, I've pretty much, this whole past season has very rarely talked about games. And only if we did, it came up organically and naturally in the course of conversation. So I just have people that, friends of mine, mainly friends of mine on Facebook, other content creators, game designers, stuff like that. And I had them on, and we would just, shoot the shit, talk about anything. Doesn't have to be about games. So I appreciate everybody who took the time to come back on the show and, just do a little chit chat. But because really, if I've done any gaming at all this past year, it's been solo game. And even then, it's like I have very little, ambition to even set up a game just to play it solo. I mean, it was different back when we had our gaming groups because it's like, all right, well, I got to set this game up for it to be ready because I have company coming over. I got my group coming over, and I always look forward to that. Now we have done some gaming, but it's all been BattleTech and. It's all been via FaceTime. I would FaceTime into the game, and it's just not the same. I've still felt isolated from the group and separated from the group, even though I was watching what they were all doing on a little my iPad or my computer or whatever. And when it was time for me to roll my initiative and my hit roll and damage rolls and stuff like that, I just rolled the dice and told them what number I got. That's about it. So that was okay. That briefly scratched the gaming itch as far as game with people, but it just wasn't the same. I still feel isolated from the group. So hopefully with the vaccines, everybody get their vaccine. Everybody be safe to get together in the same room, around the same table, and get back to board gaming. I really hope that will happen, but we shall see. But this is the last episode for quite a while, until such a time that we are able to get together and play some games, and then I'll be able to have something to talk about. Because if you haven't noticed, I've had to get some other topics. I had Liz Carroll on, and we talked about horror movies on numerous occasions after an AEW pay-per-view. Had Jason and Tony on, and we talked about our reviews of the different pay-per-views that happened on AEW, and that was a lot of fun. But as far as the gaming stuff, the gaming content, I was just not having fun doing it. And I always said from the very beginning, if this ever stopped being fun for me, I was going to stop. I was hang up my hat and just move on to something else. And I think that's time has come. I think I've milked this cow as long as I can, and still be even remotely enthused about it. But right now, it's more like work than it is fun. And I'm retired, and because I'm retired, I don't have to work if I don't want to. I'm not getting paid to do this. I barely got anything from anybody on my Patreon. So, I have financially held this show together for, 4+ years. And, I I think I'm gonna put my money to something else. Now I've talked about my horror geekdom show, so I am I've already gotten the first 2 episodes ready for that. The first 2 videos for the YouTube channel, and I'll leave links to those things on the show notes to this episode. So if anybody wants to follow me over there, yeah, have at it. And if the gaming time, goes back to as close to normal as it can get after a pandemic, if I have something to say and if I'm excited about saying something about games, I'll shoot out an episode every here and there, whatever. But as far as any weekly thing, I started out weekly. The first 2 years was weekly, and then the 3rd year I went bi-weekly. But yeah, none of that from this point on. I'll just put a podcast out when I goddamn feel like it. So it may be next month when you hear from me again. It may be 5 or 6 months before you hear from me again on the Mega Meeple. So yeah, if you subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or all the other places, yeah, hold on to that subscription. I may come back here and there. I may not. Again, I don't know. All I know right now is this is not fun for me, and I'm putting it on the shelf of shame. I'm putting it on with the rest of the games that never got played, and I feel it's kind of, I feel kind of disappointed about it. I'm sure all of you are disappointed too, but yeah, I got to take care of me. So the one thing that I'm going to go on to do is something I am excited about, I am enthusiastic about, is horror movies and thrillers and suspense and mysteries, and getting to talk to the actors and directors and stuff of some pretty cool movies that for all you horror fans out there, you might have seen. I think the podcast is going to handle movies that I've seen before, maybe some older movies, stuff like that. Things that I really enjoy and I've seen a lot of times. Most of them I've seen far more than 4 or 5 times. And I really like those movies, and I could talk a lot about them. And I think the enthusiasm would show through on that. And then I'm going to reserve my YouTube videos for first impressions, sort of like the new stuff. If there's a new horror movie coming out or a new one, a Shudder exclusive that's being released, I'll watch it and give my first impression review of it. And I think I've come up with a cool way of rating the movies. A lot of people give it, a lot of other, YouTube creators out there in the horror universe, they'll give like a rating, or they'll give a thumbs up or thumbs down, or they'll give it a grade or something like that. I've come up with a unique way, in line with the whole scary movie stuff, monster movies, ghost stories, stuff like that. Is as I'm watching, and when I'm watching these movies for the very first time, I'm gonna have a blood pressure cuff on my arm that also gives my heartbeat, beats per minute. Now, right now, my average heartbeat is about 85 beats per minute. Almost said an hour. I tell you, back when I was in the middle of medical emergencies and on my deathbed, my heartbeat did drop down to maybe 85 beats per hour. But I'm still here. But yeah, so using that as a baseline, I'm gonna rate that movie, whatever the highest beats per minute my heart beats. That's what I'm gonna rate that movie, and then I'll tell during the spoiler section of the video. I'll talk about the scene that triggered that rapid heartbeat and high blood pressure. So I think that's a pretty neat way of ranking scary movies. So we'll see how that blows over, how people react to it, if they like it or not. But it's all about being different, having your niche. So I'm hoping that works out. But you never find out if you don't try. So yeah. So you heard what I sounded like way back when, and I think let's go through what I accomplished over the years of the Mega Meeple. Now, I host my podcast on Libsyn, so let me pull up my stats on that. And let's see. As of right now, the episode with the highest number of downloads is Season 4, Episode 12, that was released on February 4th of this 2021. Entitled Music Geeks, with my guest One Day West Games, and that's a fairly recent one. It's like not even a month and a half, 2 months away at the time that I'm recording this, and even now, as of right now, it has 300 downloads. So that's pretty neat. The one that had the least amount of downloads is it is probably the reason is my very first episode. It's only had 6 downloads. But that tells me too that people have been introduced to me and have come on board in midstream at some point. So that's pretty cool. My let's see, my highest one day download was on January 20th, 2021. Again, a fairly recent date compared to right now, and that has the highest downloads in a 24-hour period with 481 downloads. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Not too shabby for a guy who doesn't have the money or the outlet to be one of these big powerhouses like Dice Tower and stuff like that. That has pretty much an already established audience of a few million people. But I could tell you, shortly after my first year of doing podcast, I contacted Thom and submitted him a sort of like a audition type thing, and for about 2 years during my podcast, I was also one of the contributors of the the board game breakfast. Yeah, I forget how many videos I submitted to them, but yeah, so that's on the Dice Tower, YouTube channel. And usually what I did is the week after they dropped that particular episode of Board Game Breakfast, I put the unedited version because, on Board Game Breakfast, we had a hardline 2-minute limit. So usually when I did my videos, a lot of times it would be a lot more than 2 minutes, being like 3 or 4 minutes, or even like 2 minutes and 15 seconds or something like that. No good. Had to cut down that 15 seconds. So what I would do is I put in the director's cut of the full 2 minutes 20 seconds or whatever. So if you wanted to get a little extra few seconds or an extra minute of content, you would go to the Mega Meeple YouTube channel, and I would post those things about a week after the Board Game Breakfast episode came out that had my little tidbit. So, yeah. So I did that for about 2 years until the point that I just got, I ran out of things to think, things to say, So I stopped doing that. So as far as show totals, for the time that I have this show, and again, at the time that this is being recorded, I have a grand total of 29,630 downloads. So that's pretty cool. And this is just based on Libsyn information. I'm not even counting all the information that Spotify and iHeartRadio and radio.com and what have you, and people who listen to the show on YouTube channel, that's not included in this. So just strictly Libsyn downloads, 29,630 people have listened to the show. So thank you to all you 29,630 people. So yeah, but I think that's I think that's going to be about it. Again, if you want to continue following me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, you want to keep your subscription on iTunes, and I'll belt out an announcement on Twitter saying, okay, I played this game recently, and I want to talk about it. So, but that's going to happen far and few between. That's only going to be if I have something to say. Because I'm not going to try to force something if it's just not working for me. And as a result, this is the last episode of the Mega Meeple podcast. So thank you so much for everybody hanging in there, walking on this little adventure called podcasting games with me. For those of you who came in early from the very beginning, you're still here. Give yourself a round of applause, because if you listen to all 108 episodes, good for you. Yeah, thank you. And those of you who didn't give me the chance to only listen to one episode, say, "Oh, I don't like him. He's an idiot." Yeah, well, I tell you, go fuck yourself, but you just be disappointed with your performance. And with that, this is Thom Grogan, the Mega Meeple, soon-to-be horror geekdom, saying goodbye, adios, thank you for all the fish. I am